Good morning. My name is Kathryn Andries, and I'm the author of several books, including Soul Choices, Six Paths to Find Your Life Purpose, Naked in Public, Dream Symbols Revealed, and Soul Choices, Six Paths to Fulfilling Relationships. And today I'm interviewing Garnet Schulhauser, author of Dancing on a Stamp and Dancing Forever with Spirit. Welcome, Garnet, and thank you for making yourself available today.
Hi, Kathryn. Thank you for having me.
So, in your second book, Dancing Forever with Spirit, you chronicle your most recent adventures with your spirit guide, Albert. Tell us about these encounters with Albert.
Well, the second encounters were quite a bit different from the first round that I had with Albert, Kathryn, because as you know, in my first book, I describe how I first met Albert, my spirit guide. He confronted me on the street one day, disguised as a homeless man. And that started our conversation. We had a dialogue, and I recounted that in my first book. So, second time around, I hadn't heard from Albert for a while. And then one night, I wake up in my bed and I see this sort of ethereal figure standing in the doorway of my bedroom. And as it got closer, I recognized that it was actually Albert as the homeless man in astral form. And so I said, why are you here, Albert? And why are you appearing this way? And he said, I've come here for the sort of the second round with you. I have some things to show you because in my view, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I want to take you and show you some things, and I want you to write about them. So then he approached closer. He basically reached out, grabbed me, and pulled my astral body out of my physical body, because I turned around and looked, and my physical body was still there laying in bed. And so he took me by the hand, and we just rose up through the ceiling, through the clouds, to a point high above the earth. And then he took me through a doorway to the spirit side. And that was quite an amazing experience because we ended up in a beautiful, lush meadow with wildflowers that were in 1,000 different colors. And it was really quite amazing. And then we walked through the meadow and down at the bottom of a hill, we came across this group of spirits, of souls. And as I got closer, I recognized them. There was my mother and my father, my brother, my grandparents, and other relatives who had already crossed over, as well as my little dog, Oscar, who had passed away about 10 years ago. And so it was a great welcoming party. Everyone gave me warm hugs, and I was especially happy to talk to my mother because I was afraid she might have been upset with me for what I wrote about the Catholic Church in my first book, because she was a very staunch Catholic. But she just wrapped her arms around me and said, no, up here, I could see the big picture, and I think what you did was great. So that made me feel really good. And then from there, Albert took me to this beautiful white city on the spirit side called Aglaia. And we met with he called the Council of Wise Ones, which was this council of very wise souls. And I found out their job was to oversee all the incarnations on Earth. And so we had a chat with them. And then Albert took me out of the spirit side, and we went to different places, different planets in the universe, one of which was a water planet called Proteus, which was completely covered with water. And we went down beneath the surface, and I met with a whale and a dolphin. And they basically said that sea life on Earth had originated on that planet. It was seeded on Earth from that planet by extraterrestrial races, and that they still communicated with their cousins on Earth. And they were really upset with the way that humans had been treating the dolphins and whales and other creatures on Earth. And they implored me to try to get humanity to stop the abuse. So that was a very direct message. And then Albert also took me to a higher dimension, the Earth in a higher dimension, where I met with a civilization that had basically raised their vibrations and had ascended from the dense vibrations where we are now to a new Earth in a higher plane. And it was really an amazing civilization, wonderful society, very idyllic, where they had no negative emotions, and they lived in harmony with their planet and with the other creatures and with each other. So it was really quite amazing. And that, according to Albert, was where we should all aspire to ascend up to that higher plane and leave the negativity of our current plane behind.
That is amazing, Garnet. And I read a lot of your manuscript, so it's recalling all these great memories I had as I was reading it. So tell us, what's the message Albert hoped to convey from these astral trips?
Well, the basic message was, look, humans, you've advanced a long way since the Stone Age. You have great technology, but you haven't advanced emotionally as much as you have in other ways. And he said that we're at a crossroads. We really have to sort of get over the hump by discarding negative emotions, fear, and all the other ones, embracing love so we can raise our vibrations and move up to that new earth plane. And he said it's important for us to do so now because right now we're too involved with abusing our planet with pollution. We abuse other creatures on this planet, and we abuse each other. We've got to stop that before it's too late, before we destroy everything on this planet, which we can do because we have weapons of mass destruction. So his view was he wanted me to spread the message to everyone that we really have to embrace love and discard fear so that we can move on.
Great. And so, can you share with us what was your most gratifying experience you had with Albert?
Yeah, it was amazing. At one point, he took me to one of the focal points of the source, one of the central suns, and it was just like our sun, except we sort of dove right into the middle of it. It was like being immersed in a pool of amazing unconditional love, and it was like if you can imagine the best emotional high you've ever had in your life, say when you were married or your first child was born, and multiply that by 1,000 times. That's kind of how it felt. And I was there for a while, and then he took me out and he said, "This is where you're going to end up one day, but in the meantime, you've got a lot of things to do."
Oh, dangling the carrot. All right. So I know everyone's going to want to read your book. Where can people buy your book?
Well, there's a lot of online buying sites on my website, which is dancingonastamp.com. There will be a lot of bricks and mortar stores that will carry it, but if your favorite store doesn't have it, they can certainly order it for you.
Great. Well, this has been a pleasure, Garnet, and I wish you the best of luck with your books.
Thank you so much, Kathryn.
Thank you.